Welcome. It's September 2024 and Microsoft just released their new Power BI update. I'm going to unpack 9 features that are just released. I'm going to include 3 labs as well as show additional content. So if you watch this, you will understand everything you need to know about the September 2024 Microsoft release. What we're going to cover are going to be these items. We're going to go through the most popular dark mode. That's an easy thing, but I'm going to show you dark mode. There's a whole new kind of Copilot enablement as well. There's also some slight formatting things pertaining to updated service bars, as well as then we're going to unpack visual calculations even more as they've made the formatting easier. There's going to be a lab. I'm going to show you literally what this function is, how it works, and how to use it for yourself. There's a very cool feature if you have a enterprise Power BI service called organizational apps that is brand new. This thing is so cool. We'll talk all about that. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm so pumped about it. Now we'll keep going. There's a way to subscribe to reports at the end of the month. There's a metric layer feature that's going to be unleashed that we can start to leverage and utilize. Finally, there's this cool thing they kind of call it in the bottom of the blog post for BI Pixie, which is going to be about usage metrics. Overall, like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all the updates that keep coming with more Power BI content. I'm going to get you equipped to fully understand everything that's out there. So let's dive into Power BI. Let's go. All right. So here we are inside of Power BI Desktop. As always, this file can be downloaded and you can go through it. It's a great way to kind of follow along. The file is titled up here in the top left. I put it in the description of the YouTube video. Check it out. You can follow along. The way that this is organized is we're going to cover from the summary tab all of these things I just kind of talked through. Dark mode, visuals, everything. They're all going to have a tab. But then what we're going to do is create labs and go through these as well. So let's dive into the September 2024 update. Firstly, dark mode. As you can see, I'm in the default mode now. I kind of like the basic idea of it all. I'm a little old school, but if you want to there's dark mode and light mode, and there's subtle things that change. So let's just check that out now. What you're going to want to do is go to Options, Global, Report Settings, Personalization. So we're going to File, Options, under the global section, we're going to go to preview features. Actually, we don't need to do preview features. It's report settings. And now under personalization, you can see that you can pick from your theme, dark, light, or default, or you can use whatever your Windows computer might have itself. So dark, I'll click all 3 we'll check them out. Dark, enable this, everything's dark. I have other things in dark mode on my computer, but I don't like it. I like to build reports sometimes with black backgrounds so they pop a little bit. It just seems way too dark for me. The colors don't stand out as much. I don't like it. So we'll do the same process, options and settings, options. And now let's go to light mode. And what you'll see is this is a little bit different than what I had initially. You have to really get in the detail, but kind of when you expand these things, this background right here is light and this is light. So there's a few subtleties. And I actually like this. I think it pops a little bit more just so you can see the change and difference. If you go back to option settings, options, and we look at report settings, we're going to hit up this default. Look at this little section change. It's pretty much what happens. Boom, it's dark. That's the difference. Choose what you like, pick your poison. You get to go for it. But it's there, and a lot of people like it. So I actually kind of like the light mode, but we're going to keep moving on. That's the dark mode. We're going to have labs and everything as well. So Copilot, these are going to be 2 quick updates. This was something that they called out in the blog post of When you use Copilot previously, and again, if you have it enabled, if not, there's a video I put here. You can see how to unlock Copilot in your Power BI. It's called Unveiling Power BI Copilot Insights. You click this link. I'll put it in the video as well. But overall, if you start to leverage this, it will, by default, scan every report page in your file instead of just the one it's on. This other small one is they're kind of decluttering the menu bar in the Power BI service. You can see that they took this chat and teams, they nestled it under the folder called share just to make kind of more space. They, instead of calling it explore this data, named it explore. So some updates there with that. But now let's get into, that's the formatting stuff, just cleaning things up. But now let's go into this visual calc. So there'll be a lab here as well. Firstly, if you're not quite sure about the visual calc or just formatting updates in general, look at the video from last month I created. It's going to go through in detail the model versus the visual versus the element, and how these visual, or not just visual calculations, but how all calculation formatting can now be updated and changed. A problem that was still stemming from that is you had to type in all these kind of complex formulas to get the values you want. Well, this update fixes it. And so let's look at what it is. Well, what we're going to do, and this will be a quick lab, you can follow along. There'll be a table down here that's set up for you. And there's this table here. What can be a pretty common thing is like you can have a trending date, and we want to know what's this value like, 44,000 compared to the next one. So by visual calculations, which we're going to go into right now, we can see that it's $7,000 less, which is around 16%. Well, previously the formatting of these two values was not easy. So they've unlocked this thing under data format where we can do that. I'm going to show it to you now. So let's do this lab. What we're going to do, again, I also have this other video right here for visual calculations walkthrough. This is going to be a half hour on how to use these visual calcs. Check it out. There's a ton there. I go through every single one, but this is going to be specific to the formatting, what we're going to dive into now. So you're going to click this. We're going to go to Home, New Visual Calculation. So now we're into that table, and it's so easy. If you think about writing a DAX query or something to get the next value and verses and all this kind of stuff, it's just more complex than what it normally is. But this makes it so easy. So all we need to do is click the function. We're going to say versus next, update these fields, sold, update this field, sold, enter, done. Okay, but you see the formatting. That's going to be the point of this update. So now I'm going to make something else just to continue to look into this. So I'm going to pick, we'll call it percentage. And for this, we're going to make a percentage that we're going to say, take whatever the versus next and divide it by the sold. And so that's roughly the percentage, minus 17%, but we're going to have to format it. Okay, so now here's the point of the update. Previously, you had to type in all this hex code to make that work. Now it's easy. If you have a visual calculation and you want to format it, you can go to under the format section, properties, and now there's a data format place. This is what I covered in the previous video, but with this has evolved. So now you can pick your field. I'm going to choose versus next, which is this one. And I want to pick, do I want a whole number, decimal, true, false, all the typical stuff. I'm going to pick whole number, but it's still not the same. I want it to be currency. Great. It has all the other formats here as well. Pick currency, sweetness, and there you go. Now it's formatted like currency. Previously, if you've seen this, you've had to go through hashtagging and typing out formatting functions to make it work. It's easy now. This is a good update. Just to confirm again, go to percentage. We're going to change this. We're going to keep it a decimal number, but we're going to format it as percentage. Just like that. Maybe I want the percentage on, off, boom. That easy. Very cool update. That is a valuable thing for anyone who's doing visual calculations, which are legit. Make report building so much easier. So that was another lab. Now we're going to dive into this organizational app. If you have a solution or enterprise service where you publish reports into a workspace, promote those into an app, and have end users connect to the app like a standard best practice, this is cool because previously you had one workspace and one app that sits on top of it. Now you can have one workspace and as many apps as you want to create. It's very cool. And it doesn't seem like anybody's talking about this, but it's very, very cool. So there's one thing you need to do. If you are the admin or if you aren't, you need to have the admin go into this setting for users can discover and create org apps preview. This is brand new. I enabled it so we can do it. And now let's go ahead and show you what that's like, what that experience is like. So let's get into the Power BI service. Let's go. All right, so here we are in the Power BI service. Now, as you can see, I'm in a workspace. It's just a Power BI test workspace using some dummy data here. And this is very typical development stuff where you might have 3 reports. So in this, I have dummy data report, and it's just some chart. It doesn't matter what it is right now. It's going to be about the app building experience. Dummy data 2, another dummy report, and so on. So now previously, to create an app, you'd come up here and say update app or create an app. And that's how you'd build an app that then users would connect to. They've made this so much cooler now. So you can see I made some fake apps here. We'll make another one as part of this lab. So what this looks like, these are now discoverable and you can send them to people, but it's going to be an app where you can choose the content, send the audiences. Again, totally dummy stuff here. So let's see that experience. It's very cool. Go to new item. You're going to pick org app, which is what we just enabled in the service. We'll call this dummy test 3. Cool. Create. All right. So now it's just blank. And this is where first you can add content. So let's go ahead and add, we'll say all 3 reports. Maybe you just want to add 2, 3. We'll just do 2. Add report. But then you can add navigational components. You can manage everything in this process like you would creating any other app. So maybe you make a section, call it, section break. Doesn't matter. We want to say move it up. All the formatting stuff you can do, create an overview, add more content, the whole deal. Now you can customize it as well. The buttons are laid out differently than the normal app creation, but let's choose a different theme. You used to only pick certain colors. Now you can actually pick any specific color. It's pretty cool there where you can change to get exactly a color that you want. We'll pick that one. Again, upload an image if you feel like it. Navigation as well. You can improve the navigational experience. And let me move my picture so I can save this. Real quick here. Okay, so I'm on the other side. Hit apply. Cool. So now we're building this app, and then you simply save it and then access it. The way that you'll permission to it is after you save and publish it, you'll just go back to the workspace. I'll discard this one for now. And dummy test 3, it's still there. And then you simply, kind of like you would a report, you now go to the 3 dots, click manage permissions, and you're all set. And then you'll permission it out from there. It's very cool. It's going to be a way, let me move my picture back to the other side. These multiple apps are going to be so helpful when people want to deliver data from a workspace to personalized areas. There's going to be lots of potential there. So that's very cool. And now let's actually go to the next update, which is going to be pertaining to the subscription, which happens on the end of the month. So say you have a report and we're going to say, all right, thank you very much. Let's open this report, dummy data 2. and we want to subscribe to the report. Okay, we'll create a subscription to standard. We're going to go to the point of this update where if you wanted to send a report on the last day of the month, it just wasn't possible previously. But I guess things are possible. It's more complex. But now it's very simple. You can just choose monthly, and you can pick a certain day or the last day of the month, which, as we know, months, if you want to send the start of the month, that's easy. Put it on the first. The last day every month is different. So now we can just choose the last day of the month and we'll send it. Easy as that. That's very helpful if you need to send content at the end of the month, obviously automatically to people. So that's cool. Now let's jump back into Power BI Desktop and continue the updates. All right, we're back in Power BI. And so we just covered the organizational apps as well as then the subscriptions, where we saw that the last day of the month. You can enable that. Let's go to the final two. We're going to talk about these. So this is going to be something I'm going to unpack more of in a future video, but they are releasing this new metric layer that we will need to unpack. Essentially, it's kind of like the scorecard section in Power BI service, where it will allow you to create a repository of metrics. It seems like they're going to be composite models that then you can then slice and dice as you see fit. Here's the wording that they put up. It's just the things that stood out to me are that, discovery and reuse, the idea of consumers, everybody pulling the same metric you might be calculated, doing different things with it. Some of the why behind it, eliminating the siloed data is clutch, where you just have multiple semantic models or people doing stuff. You can also create centralized semantic models. So I'm not quite decided yet on the value of this one, but I'm going to figure it out over the coming weeks or whatnot. So look for a future video on that, but dive into this fabric metric layer. Again, it's going to be in the scorecard section of your service if it's been rolled out to you. It's preview, so sometimes these things don't come right away. The final thing on the bottom of the blog update is this thing called BI Pixie. So if you're an admin and you're curious about the usage of content in your Power BI service, well, there's ways where you can connect to the APIs that they've documented and extract event logs so you can see what report was viewed by who and when, that kind of stuff. And you can do that on your own, pretty straightforward. The thing that caught my eye with this is that BI Pixie has the ability to see where people click in a report by slicing and filtering or clicking on specific bookmarks, clicking tables. So I would encourage you, if you're curious, check out this BI Pixie. I did. I started to scope it out. I might do read more into it, but I think it's like the pricing's pretty steep. It's like 20,000 plus for a limited section of reporting. So it just seems like it's probably overpriced, but I'm very curious around the back-end technology or the solution they're using with Power Automate, connecting to, Azure apps and different things like that to obtain this information. So that's what they released in the blog. I'm just feeding you with the information. Ultimately, after this video and after these updates, you are fully equipped to understand everything that came out in the September 2024 Power BI release. So like and subscribe. I will keep you updated on Power BI as it is continually evolving, including updates as well as best practices with many other things. So thank you for your support. Share with your friends, and you'll have a good day. Bye.